came at Zandvoort. The other one came at Indianapolis on the road course. So he's got form. He knows exactly what he needs to do if he wants to chalk another one up.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So, yeah, we have to take a look how the main race is going to develop. You've seen it the whole season long that the start is a very crucial part of this main race when we have all the cars gathered up and everybody is willing to score some important points for the Wheel Team Championship. Like you said before, the best drivers per wheel car in the world will get some points for the team championship. It's a little amount of points that are not that have not such a big impact. But in the end, every point can decide the championship. So I think everybody will go for the win in the second race. And to be one of those guys winning a virtual EuroNASCAR race in the first season is also a very nice thing to have this virtual trophy in this basket. I think that's a good thing. But yeah, we will see. I think the main race will be very interesting. And like I said before, in the real races, we saw some very strange and chaotic stuff. And I think we will see some nice action, nice battles in the main race too. But now let's focus first on the second heat this evening with Tobias Downhauer and Alex Fontana in the first row, then Brigatti and Dallara in the second row. I think this will be a very, very interesting one.
A very interesting one. We'll come to Andre Castro in a while. We'll just get the race underway, Andre, who joined us in the commentary box, our Heat 1 winner, and then we'll come back for a quick chat to him. So both of the drivers on the front row of the grid have had wins. Diana Howe's had 2 Heat wins. Alex Fontana has had a last chance race win. Row 2 of the grid, Brigatti has had a Heat win, and alongside him is Davide Dallara, who has also had a last chance race win. So we've got race winners again on the front few rows of the grid. They're just coming around through turn number 12 and up towards turn number 13 currently, so just about another 30 seconds before we get the race underway. We'll see them through the first couple of corners and then we'll chat to our Heat 1 winner. But again, every one of these 18 cars, because of the slightly reduced numbers of the drivers entered this weekend and team members entered as they all prepare for the start of the season, sees 2 heats, everybody going through to the final and everybody then scoring a championship point in this particular one before we then head to the double points finals at Zolder in just a couple of weeks' time. So up towards the final chicane, we saw them not quite go in heat number 1 side by side through the chicane. It is so tight to do so. And again, in this one, everybody's just making sure that they don't bump into each other when they get the race underway. So Tobias Downhauer gets his foot down and has already got the jump on Alex Fontana as they turn off the oval and onto the infield section here. Alex Fontana's in second place. Brigatti is there in third place. Davide Dallara is in fourth place, and Vladimir Joitsis is going beautifully well as well. The Cypriot sitting there in fifth position. Nice clean start from everybody. So let's now have a chat to our Heat 1 winner, Andre Castro, who joins me in the commentary box. Andre, you've done it again. That's another win in your heats. You've qualified on pole position the last 3 times on the trot. You've won your heats the last 3 times on the trot. What we now need to see you do is win a main race, mate.
Yeah, that's the plan this time. Yeah, everything's going to plan so far. On the pole, won the first heat. Seems like the rhythm around this track has been pretty good for me recently. So yeah, looking forward to carrying that into the final. It's a very intense level of focus you got to have here to not hit any of the walls. You know, it's kind of like a street circuit for NASCAR or something like Monaco for these cars, which is really tough with low grip and with really heavy stock cars and 900 horsepower. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I know you were really looking forward to this circuit, and hopefully that will bring you the result that you more than richly deserve in the finals. How much easier did it make your heat win when we've got 3 cars squabbling for second, third, and fourth, and you just managed to gap them nice and early?
Yeah, I didn't really look behind the whole time, so I was just focused on hitting my marks, and it definitely helps when you don't have anybody right behind pressuring you. You can just focus out front and not get distracted in the mirrors. So that's the plan for the final, hopefully. But yeah, everything's going well so far, and just want to say hi to all my family and friends watching, and hopefully we'll have a good race.
And the final quick question before we head back towards heat number 2, because that final chicane is so tight to go side by side, how important is it being on pole position in iRacing for that final run towards the green flag when it drops?
Well, it's really important because once the pace car goes off, you know, you can pretty much dictate when the start goes until the green flag comes out officially. Then everyone can go. But as long as you go between when the pace car goes off and when the green flag comes out, you can go whenever you want. So it's important to get that lead into that chicane so that, you know, you don't have any side-to-side contact, because it obviously narrows up through there. But yeah, I've just been getting pole and winning my heat. Certainly just reduces the chances of anything happening in the final, and that's what's happened the last couple of weeks too. So looking to close it out this time.
Let's hope so. Let's hope we chat to you in victory lane later on. Well done on the heat win, Andre, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.
There we go. There's our Heat 1 winner, Andre Castro, briefly joining us in commentary. Back to the race. We ride on board the Hockenheim Ring FanFest car, which this evening is being driven by Michael Breitigam, who is doing a good job again, Andre. Driver that you know, representing the circuit, is right behind the Cal Racing machine of Stefano Gustavalle.
Yeah, he's doing a good job in 7th place. He's a journalist in Germany, very experienced sim racer as well, and he has also some experience in real world racing, so he's not just writing about motorsports, he's doing it virtually and in the reality. So yeah, he's doing a good job. I think a top 10, maybe a top 5 in this heat would be a very big success for the whole Hockenheim Ring crew that is gathered in this 479 Chevrolet Camaro. So yeah, he's doing a very good job, but I think we have to mention one different thing. This is the first time we don't have so many drivers on the grid, but I think we may have a last chance qualifier race to determine who's going to be 21st in the final. But maybe
right.
We have to learn a little bit, because this whole heat racing stuff on iRacing is new. We didn't have this situation before, so don't be confused if we have a last chance qualifier with everybody getting in the final, but we need to check who's getting the 21st place.
Okay, right. You're the expert when it comes to iRacing. I
don't know really. We need to check, because right now I see on my screen Heat 3 is skipped, but the last chance qualifier 1 is not skipped right now. So it's a little bit of a surprise in the end.
A bit of rally crossing from Max Palumbo with his Solaris Motorsport car. You also saw Aurélien Dillier make a bit of a mistake at the wheel of the car number 310, the RDV competition car, and as he rejoined the circuit, he then got tangled up with Gordon Barnes, and that's caused damage to Gordon Barnes' car. We look at Gustav Berggren, the Swedish driver, who is coming under pressure from Justin Kuntz, the German, who sits behind. Now, this is for 9th and 10th position. Up front, Tobias Dauenhauer still comfortably leading. He's doing an Andre Castro, really, and just gapping everybody behind whilst they squabble over it. Aurélien Dillier, having recovered now, is now looking to try and attack car number 146, which is Gasper Donovsik, who is not going to let him through. Scott Jeffs has got the best seat in the house, watching all of this unfold ahead of him as he sits there in what will be 13th position. So this is the cars in 11th, 12th and 13th places, just working their way in towards the braking area for the bus stop. And then a mistake there, and off onto the grass goes Gustav Berggren again, Swedish driver who was under pressure from Justin Kuntz, and as a result of that mistake has now lost the position. Let's have a quick look. Turns into the corner, takes a bit too much curb, can't get the car turned in appropriately, has to bounce over the second part of the bus stop chicane. So Justin Kuntz grabs the opportunity to steal the place away. And more changes here again by the look of things, as Scott Jeffs is side by side with Aurélien Dillier. Is he going to be able to gain the place? He's looking to try and grab the position, but no such opportunity. So Dillier just able to hang on to the place. So the Brax Chevy still, for the moment, has to be satisfied with 13th position, because he can't quite get himself ahead of the Toyota. It's 2 Fords out front at the moment, 2 Chevys in second, 2 Fords out front, Chevys in third and fourth, another Ford in fifth, and then it's Chevy's 6th through to 11th place. Aurélien Dillier is one of only 2 Toyotas we've got in this heat, and we're now heading towards the final 3 and a bit minutes, and Tobias Dauenhauer has done exactly what we thought he might do. He's just managed to gap everybody behind, hasn't he?
Yes, he's doing a great job, and he's taking advantage from the pole position like Andre Castro. And he said it before in the interview, it's very important to dictate the pace in the starting procedure, and you can gain a big advantage when you have a good start, and Tobias Dauenhauer had one of those good starts, and now is leading the race with a big margin on Fontana and Brigatti and Dallara. Who's also doing a good job is Tozzi's in the 101 car. He's in 5th right now. Gustav Viglia in 6th. Bräutigam still in 7th. So yeah, everybody has taken their positions, but I think in the midfield there are a lot of nice battles going on. Justin Kuhns did 1 or 2 great overtakes during this race. I saw one on Dillier in the early stages. So yeah, it's an interesting race right now. But I think as long as Tobias Downhauer is not doing any mistakes at the front, he's going to win this one, as we have only 2 minutes left. But it's a tricky track, so mistakes can occur anytime. And when commentators tell people that there may be a mistake, there's a high chance that there is a mistake.
Yes, yeah. The commentator's curse. We don't want it to strike. Certainly not for Tobias Downhauer. He's done all of the hard work pulling away from this car here. Alex Fontana, who still resides there in 2nd place at the moment, but hasn't pulled massively away from Alessandro Brigatti, who sits behind at this stage. So it's still the 42 racing car ahead of the first of the Feed Victor racing cars. Now, we did mention earlier on when we were chatting to Alessandro from Vallelunga circuit that we have seen Brigatti and Feed Victor racing out testing at Vallelunga just this last few weeks or so. So they'll be hugely keen to return to the circuit again for real if they can. Back on board with Michael Breitigam, who is looking to try and put Stefano Gustavaye under pressure, looking to try and close in. But again, as they head off the infield section, back up onto the banked part of the circuit, accelerating out of turn number 8. Speeds build up towards turn number 9. They're hitting nearly 160 miles per hour through the banked section of the circuit before they then back onto the brakes in towards turn number 11 and turn number 12, the bus stop that was introduced into this infield section not that long ago. Gustavaye gets a little bit squirrely coming out of it, running car number 388. So he's one of the team member cars because it starts with a 3. He works on the 54 car for Cal Racing usually, and is at the moment just doing enough to hold off the Hockenheimring American FanFest car that sits behind. Cars numbered 400 are either circuit cars or they're part of the FJ Team All-Star team as such. So Downhauer leading. Fontana from Brigatti. The clock has ticked past the 10 minutes, so they're now on their final lap of the race. A little bit of traffic coming up for Alex Fontana in 2nd place. No such worries for the Hendricks Motorsport car of Tobias Downhauer, who is just accelerating his way up onto the banked section of the circuit. 5.5 seconds to the good, so he can just afford to bide his time, stroke the car home without any issues at all. Alex Fontana, however, in 2nd place, can't rest on his laurels because he's still got the traffic potentially, and I'm sure absolutely to deal with, because he was catching it just before we move to follow our race leader, and we're going to follow him round through turn number 13 up towards turn number 14 and then onto the little kink at 15 before the tight right-hander at 16, the tight left-hander at 17. That's the chicane, and that's all that Tobias Downhauer now has to do to come through and claim what for him is his 3rd heat victory of the season. A heat win at Zandvoort, heat win at Indianapolis on the road course, and now a heat win here at Charlotte on the Roval for him. Alex Fontana finishes in 2nd place, just ahead of Alessandro Brigatti, who's there in 3rd place. Davide Dallara is there in 4th place. Who's going to finish in 5th place? It's Vladimir Choitzis that finishes in 5th place, and Gustavaye does just hold off the Hockenheimring car for 6th and 7th places. Advait Dioda finishes in 8th place, Justin Kuntz in 9th, and with a few little issues along the way, Gustav Berggren will complete the top 10. But as we say, these cars trickling their way over the start-finish line. Aurelien Dillier still to finish at this stage. We've also got Ricardo Alita and Max Palumbo still to finish. Another car that we ought to mention is car number 420, as it's shown on your screen, which is Ivana Venzarova, who is representing Autodrome Most Car Show at the wheel of her Toyota. She's a HR analyst working for Volkswagen out in the Czech Republic, one of the partners of Most Circuit there. So it's great that Ivana has joined the entry list for this weekend in what is a re-liveried car from Autodrome Most Car Show. So heat number 2 is done and dusted. We'll get confirmation of the results of that very, very shortly. In fact, bang on cue, here it comes. Tobias Downhauer claims the win by almost 6 seconds in the end from Alex Fontana in second place. And the first of the feed fixed cars comes home for Alessandro Brigatti in third place. Davide Dallara was fourth, ahead of Vladimiris Joitsis in fifth place, and Stefano Gustavaglie